You trusted me to join the business. I'm going to guide you step by step to get off to a fast start. I'm going to be committed. You take a step, I take a step. Let's get started. Are you ready to launch your business?
Welcome to What's Working in Direct Selling, an exclusive podcast from DSN. I'm your host, Rob Sperry. Every episode, real leaders break down the specific strategies, results, and systems driving their success right now. No fluff, no theory, just what's working today and how you can put it to work in your business. Welcome back to the podcast. As we always talk about what's working in direct selling, and there's a reason for that title because we want to be very solution oriented. We cut out all the fluff. We bring the best on. We bring leaders that are actually in the trenches making it happen. We got my good friend from the UK who has a much better accent than I do, Craig White. He's been in the profession for 25 years. Absolutely incredible. He same company. He's one of those guys at high level leadership, understands recruiting. I've actually done specific podcasts where he talks about how to recruit 2 to 3 people a week. And he's consistently done that. I love how he stayed in the trenches the whole time. And then he's made a huge focus as well, because as you know, if you build large organizations, on duplication. And so I really want to talk about that. I know that you and I went back and forth, and the topic that you chose was why your team isn't duplicating the coaching problem, which is a really high level one. So we'll dive into the strategies in just a second. First off, I always like to at least say hello, even though we cut out the fluff. And then second off, I'd love to hear from you, Craig, on why this topic. Why did you feel like this would be the best topic to be able to give your strategies on to help everybody in this profession?
Mate, I think, look, we're in this profession to build a future, create that dream lifestyle and really develop that residual passive income. And the reality is, if we're not coaching success, we're never going to build duplication. And I think coaching really is the foundation of what we do. The reality is we talk about selling, we talk about recruiting, but fundamentally the number one skill that we get paid for and that we have the opportunity to build that lifestyle is coaching.
100%. I always say good leaders have vision, great leaders give vision, and coaches, right? They're like talent extractors. I think the definition from Stephen Covey of leadership is communicating to one their worth and potential so well they see it in themselves. There's so many avenues and aspects to it. So let's just dive right into it. Let's hear strategy number one, my man.
I think that the reality is, I think how we do anything is how we do everything, right? And how we start a new team member is how they're going to duplicate it. So I think it's very important that we focus on the simplification of getting someone started. And I have kind of 3 simple steps in that, really. Number 1, congratulate and inoculate. So congratulating people on making a brave, courageous decision and stepping out of their comfort zone like millions wouldn't to go after their dreams. But also inoculate them that it's not going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it. You're going to have to show up even when you don't feel like, just like when you're in employment. Most of the time people don't want to go into the 9 to 5, but they show up anyway because they're committed and they've got no choice. And when you take that philosophy of respecting yourself enough to employ yourself, then you will win. So that's like the first step, congratulate and inoculate. Secondly, I think a lot of people skirt over this, and it's about discovering people's real reason why. And I often find, like, let's say I'm talking to you, Rob, and we're discussing you join the business and you're saying, look, I could really do with making an extra 500 quid a month for X, Y, and Z. And you decide to join the business, you come in and we get you started, I inoculate you, etc. And I'm like, right, okay, what do you want to achieve? And most people lower their vision to meet where they are. And they'll say to you, oh, if I could make a couple of £100. And a lot of people accept that, but I remember you wanted to make 500. And I think it's having that confidence and strength and actually challenging people and saying, hey, look, I understand, you're consciously unaware of what to do and where to go, but you trusted me to join the business and I want you to trust me now. You said to me that you wanted to make 500 quid. Let's focus on that. Now, why is that important to you? And I think it's important. Like I'm sure everyone listening has heard the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. My mum told me 25 years ago-ish, you can make a horse drink. You put salt in its oats to make it thirsty. And the salt in the oats of our partners in business with us is knowing the reason behind the money. Because money's not the reason. It's what the money does. And if we can discover that, we find a little bit of their hot button. So when their motivation's low, their commitment's low, we can remind them of why they joined and why it was important to them. So that's number 2. And then reaffirming, once you've done that, I'm like, right, look, again, you trusted me to join the business. I'm going to guide you step by step to get off to a fast start. I'm going to be committed. You take a step, I take a step. Let's get started. Are you ready to launch your business? So it's almost like positioning that start, showing a genuine interest, strengthening the relationship, but also strengthening the trust. And then teaching them to do stuff, But for me, that's relationship strengthening.
Such a big one. Now, I have a really quick question before we dive into strategy number 2 that I know that many leaders struggle with, go back and forth, and then more so those that aren't leaders yet that really get confused with this principle. When are you coaching and when are you in management mode?
So I think it's a very fine line. So I have this philosophy of we manage their start, but we lead their success.
Say that again. I like that. I'm writing this down.
We manage their start, but we lead their success. So when someone's starting and they're brand new, like if you think every job, like I haven't had a job for like 27 years, right? But every job that I had, I was shadowed for the first week or the first month. Somebody was showing me what to do until I developed a level of competency. So although we're not managing them, we're helping to manage their start. And coaching, from a sort of a leading their success, like for me, might be going on to another strategy, but leadership is the key to coaching.
You can just go on into the next strategy that works with it. You're good. We go with the flow.
Like, for me, leadership in network marketing is about boldly creating a path to success for people to willingly follow. It's about blazing that trail. So people come into the business and, for example, like, you're the sponsor, you're a super duper lemonade trooper, you're picking up the ranks and someone joins in and that's how they see you. But they need to see you grow as well. They need to see you bringing in and helping new people. They need to see the success happening for themselves because it builds the confidence. Oh, Rob's just recruited another half a dozen people and helped them successfully launch their business. It gives them confidence in the system. It gives them confidence in their ability to evolve and maybe get their first team member and their second and so on. I think that kind of managing their start, leading their success. I have like off the hook coaching calls, like just off the cuff. But I also have a lot planned in every week, regular as clockwork, where you're sitting down, having a quick catch up. Right, what's gone well this week? And
once you get them launched, how about later on? How do you distinguish that? Is there certain ways that they actually earn your time so that you're not managing? Is there certain criteria? Because I feel like that's where it gets really hard. I love the beginning because, I love the shadow analogy. That's so true because often in network marketing, it's like, oh, anything you need, I'm here. Call me, text me, watch these videos. And I'm thinking in my mind, that's like the analogy I like to give. It's like an airplane. Airplane's network marketing the vehicle. We're the pilot and we're selling them on the vehicle. Oh, network marketing's amazing. And so they get in to be co-pilot and fly with us, and then we get off the airplane. They're like, wait, what are you doing? Oh yeah, watch these videos. If you need anything, I'm here for you. No, you got to hold their hand to get them launched. So I love what you just shared there. Now as they transition later, say 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, obviously of larger organizations, depends on where you're at. That's tough. It's scale, right? But at the same time, it's the most critical part of true leadership development and personal development. And so that's something I always was struggling with in a good way on both sides, like too much, not enough, right? Creating criteria. And you're such a high level leader. I'd love to hear your take.
I think like one of my weaknesses, but also my strengths, is that sometimes I'm like open to everybody. Okay. However, the saying of the cream will always rise to the top. And it almost comes down to this, like two kind of strategies that I think really help me with this, where people show themselves. So the first kind of focus is almost going on from that initial start, because it's the foundation. And I think people show themselves in that first kind of 3 months. And they show themselves, and what I tend to do is split them 3 months. And I kind of like think of it. I used to work, because I don't know if anyone remembers SodaStream, where you kind of get the gas bottles, you put them in, and you make a fizzy drink. Like, I'm showing my age now. I used to work on a SodaStream factory for a day, incidentally, because I couldn't stick it. And you literally grabbed a gas bottle, put it on a machine, pressed 2 buttons, and it was going down a conveyor belt. Anyway, the story behind that is the conveyor belt. And I look at this 3-month conveyor belt to competence and independence. The first month, we're managing their start. And what I mean by that is we're doing it for them. We're not the activity, but we're planning, we're guiding, we're shadowing. So that first month where they're going down the conveyor belt, we do it for them in that kind of sense. The second month, we're doing it with them. So we're kind of going, right, what do you think we should do? Like, what works? So you're kind of planning together. The third month, you're like, right, congratulations, go plan your business for this month, set your goals, plan your business, ping it into my inbox, and then let's have a quick call and discuss how we can work together. Now, obviously, you're seeing people transition. If people can't then go, after 2 months of you doing it with and showing them, they can't go and do it themselves, I think they're showing how serious they are. I've still got people that send me their goals and their plans 15 years down the line every month.
Wow.
Just because we have this collaboration and overlapping leadership mindset where 2 heads is better than 1. So that conveyor belt philosophy. And then look, my mum was my original mentor, followed by so many, including yourself, buddy. And she taught me this things called tops, middles, and bottoms. I didn't really like it, like somebody being a bottom's a bit derogatory, so I renamed it 1, 2s, and 3s. So it's how I focus my time on the right people, so I'm not getting drained by the time wasters. You know, like dream with the dreamers, run with the runners kind of vibe. So the 1s are the people that are goal setting, they're active, they're building their business, they're contributing, they're developing a team. These are the people that we're working with side by side that are hungry, but not just talking the talk, they're doing the thing. Also, my new people are 1s, because they're getting most of your time, okay? And then these 1s, they either stay in that 1 position, so they're getting, coaching calls, my WhatsApp's open every day, or they demote themselves through lack of activity, results, and commitment into what I call my 2s. Now, the 2s are, like, everyone's valuable, right? So I'm not being derogatory numbering people. Like, everyone's contribution is valuable. And as long as they're happy, that's the number 1 priority. But your 2s could be somebody that, I don't know, could be making, £1,000 a month. Or they're kind of the middle of the road. And they're like, yeah, I really want to do X, I want to do Y, I want to do Z. And they talk the talk, but they never do anything different. The trigger in the mind never flips for them to go and do anything different. So they still get a time. I'll have a call with them at the beginning of the campaign, maybe, we'll discuss their plan. My WhatsApp's open, but there's not a lot of massive communication because I'm running with the runners, but I'll also dream with the dreamers. And then my 3s are the people that don't show up on anything. There's no way of really influencing. They could do nothing this campaign. They could do a lot. Like I've got they don't communicate. They don't respond. They don't pick up the phone. They don't come on Zooms. So they go into my 3s. So I just have a way, either by WhatsApp or email, of making sure they're aware of what's happening in the team. And it's up to them to kind of re-promote themselves by getting active. And what it enables me to do is to not get sucked by the 80% of people which are sat in the 3 section, but I'm still making sure they know I'm there for them without giving them any time.
Such a good balance, right? It's loving them where they're at, but also casting a vision to help me see it just a little bit further. It's making everybody feel important, but it's also finding ways to best use your time. Because I found at the beginning, I was a massive people pleaser. And when I was there for everyone, always, no matter what, I quickly realized that actually that was my own ego. I thought it was the opposite. I thought I'm so selfless and, I'm there for everyone. But in reality, I was addicted to the praise of always being there for everyone, when in reality, there were people that were more deserving of my time, that could change my business, their business, could make a much greater impact. I just didn't have enough time for them, to find them, to work with them, because I was spending my time with anyone and everyone. So I love how you went through the 1s, 2s, and 3s and how strategic you are. And for those of you that are tuning in, this is 25 years of experience. He also has a mentor, a mom who has so much experience as well that he can draw from. And so you combine that, it's decades and decades of information here in a short amount of time. And so you always, throughout this, take the one thing you feel like that you could implement to make a difference, because otherwise it's going to be a smorgasbord of too many good things. None are implemented, and then it becomes nothing and no progress. And that's not what we want. We want progress. So Craig, I know we could go hours and hours. I want to continue on though. I know you got so many different strategies, and I've gone on tangents just because I know you're a wealth of information. So I don't know if we're on strategy number 2, 3, or 10, but let's move on to the next strategy.
Cool. I think you hit the nail on the head really with being a people pleaser. And I think we often learn the hard way by, making the mistakes. But I think it strengthens our character. It's like every failure, every obstacle, every challenge, it's just setting us up for the next success. So I think when you get super aligned and you're very strategic with your time, as I said, I'll have regular coaching calls where we're collaborating, we're casting our vision. But for me as well, it's about bringing a community of leaders together. And this works really, really well for me. We have I came to your Leader of Leaders Mastermind in Dubai 5 years ago, maybe-ish. And from then, I learned so much from that event that I've really implemented my own Leader of Leaders community. And, it's like collective power of coaching and learning and sharing ideas. So that, for me, that works really well. We've developed this real strong overlapping leadership community. There's no egos, everyone's supporting one another. And I think when you can develop that core strength, everything else can ripple out. So that would be a really strong strategy as you're coaching your leaders and bringing them together. It's just worked really well for me, mate. And I love it.
That's really good. My last question would be around that from a leadership standpoint is now we go to much a higher level coaching. You alluded to it just a little bit. What do you do for your, I don't know if you want to call them your 10%ers, 5%ers, or even maybe 1%ers, your leader of leaders? How do you coach them? What extra things do you do from maybe a community, an online, I don't know if it's a group chat. I don't know if it's one-on-one or group Zooms. I don't know if it's leadership events. I don't know if it's at conventions, extra stuff. What are some of the things that you found that you can do to help with that? Because for all of you tuning in, depending where you're at, we always start out as followers. And eventually we're leaders of maybe a follower or followers. But maybe on a scale 1 to 10, your following's a 4. And you get better, and then maybe it's a leader of followers, but you're a better leader of followers, and they're 5s and 6s. And then eventually you become a leader of a leader and a lot of followers, and then eventually you become a leader of leaders. And that is ultimately the goal, which takes time to become it. And then after that, takes time to be able to teach and scale it. Completely different things as we go. First, you got to become that leader. And then it's how we scale. And then it's a process of time, no matter how good you are. You can't skip steps as you go. Momentum can help, but you can't skip steps. So with that said, I know you're so big on that. Give us some of the things that you do as a last strategy for leadership development.
So I think that there's three things that we do that sits under there. I mean, we have quarterly Zoom calls, and they're quarterly for a reason, because people haven't got time to be on tons of Zoom calls. They need to be driving their business forward. So we come together quarterly, because people are, all over Europe. And this is the high level leaders. We come together quarterly, brainstorm, strategize, and really focus, right, what are we focused on? What percentage, what growth are we focused on? Who are we working with? So,
and how long are those
really
Zooms
cool.
typically?
They can be sort of 45 to 60 minutes, I've developed such a strong friendship and community. Like we've become very close, but also we're very, very driven side by side as well. So sometimes there can be quite a lot of chat after the call, which is good, because people are out and about driving their business. So it's good to strengthen that relationship. Secondly, I'll have a lot of one-to-one calls with my high-level leaders every sales campaign, and I am raising their game. When I say my belief in people, this is probably one of my biggest strengths. I just believe in the possibilities that lay within us, and sometimes showing people, even leaders, even myself, that actually the next step's possible as well. So it's almost like raising people's expectations, believing in them, and just getting them to cast that vision a little stronger, a little further. And, again, this is something that we've discussed over the years, is leaders cast a vision. And that's really, really important. So they're really cool, really focused, and, a lot of fun. Not like I don't necessarily believe in boring strategies. My personality is spontaneous fun, but we really do carve out some great ideas and some great areas of focus. And then annually we'll do a Leader of Leaders event, birthed from the one that I come to yours, my friend. Of yours I came to. And this year we are going out to Portugal, and it's a qualification. So it's a paid for incentive by myself, but people have got to qualify, and it's not an easy qualification, but people do not want to miss that trip. So it really raises the game, just like it would for me. It raises everyone, because people want to be a part of that community. And there may be 15 to 20 people or thereabouts spending 3 to 4 days at a Leader of Leaders mastermind, where there'll be masterminding, there'll be team building, and then there'll be meals in the evening. So yeah, I think a real strong nucleus to really kind of continue to develop as leaders side by side, because I learn from my leaders just as much as they learn from me.
Yeah, really good point on the quarterly Zooms, but then on top of it, there's nothing that replaces the in-person. We can't do too much with everything that's going on, but that in-person, when you can just get together, strengthen the relationship, strengthen the friendship, and then also collaborate, like you said, on all of the ideas that you have, as everybody gets to learn from each other of what works and what's not working, what can we do, and it strengthens that purpose and that vision. And strategically for everybody, just sharpens everything we need to work on. Well, I will say
leadership's about showing the way and then getting out of the way, isn't it?
Yeah. And that can be one of the hardest parts about becoming a leader of leaders. I think often many are leaders of followers because they can't step out of the way. They have to, in their minds, they need that credit. It's a big part of their self-esteem. And that's the next level, is being able to do that, to empower others as much as you possibly can and get that unhealthy ego out of the way. There's a reason why they say ego stands for everyone's got one. Edging got out. Your ego ain't your amigo. I could go on, but we won't for today. But I will say that we appreciate your time greatly, Craig. There was absolutely zero fluff, not even 1% fluff in this. You were just pure strategic and giving incredible stories and analogies throughout it, which is always makes it even more entertaining. I learned by being trained through entertainment and stories, and then mixed with the strategies. And so I know we greatly appreciate it. If you guys are tuning in for the very first time, smash that subscribe button and make sure that you share it with your teams. And the last thing I always ask is, please leave us a review. Craig, I never realized, I know you've done books and podcasts. Very few leave reviews. And I didn't realize it till I started writing my own books and doing my own podcast. I'm like, oh, I don't either. So I'm calling myself out as I've started to do it on a regular basis now, as it's good karma. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. Craig, thanks for your time. Until the next time, my friends.